It's showtime. Hey, everybody. We are here, and I've got this beautiful view today. So I'm not at the office today, thank God. I'm at a client's house looking over the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean at Carolina Beach. So super fun. But we are here to talk about cyber bullying, cyber scams, everything.
All the things, all the cyber scary things.
All the cyber crap.
There you go.
Way to pick a positive topic. I like it.
Yeah, super positive.
But
So you guys don't
relevant.
leave yet because it's really important. So don't leave yet.
Absolutely. So who wants to talk first? Give me an example of what you're seeing out there.
Ugh. Okay, I'm going to fall on the sword first. So I'll do the condensed version of what happened to me. Had a deal close in January, on January 5th. It was a referral from an agent down in Florida that I won't mention the name. It was put to me, my client has a property in Missouri that they want to sell. Do you service Eureka? Yes, I do. Fantastic. Super sweet little old lady. So I'm coming from it from a standpoint of this agent knows this person, right? Super sweet lady, the whole deal. So I'm on the phone with her. She sounds like a little old lady to me. She doesn't live here. And so listed her property. I got the buyer, so I'm dual on this one. And it closed on January 5th. There was no shenanigans during the whole thing. Anytime that she had to sign a document, she signed it right away. There was no opening of emails like in a foreign country or anything like that. There was nothing that indicated that this was a scam. Now, fast forward 3 weeks after that one closed, same agent calls me up. My client has a property in Pacific. Do you go that far? Yes, I do. Great. It's 26 acres, blah, blah, blah. His name's Gerald. He travels a lot. He's going to need to communicate by text. That's the way he prefers to communicate. Great. No problem. So I text him right away, And again, there were a number of emails where he had to sign documents. Didn't seem to be a problem. Sent me a driver's license picture, him and his wife, driver's license pictures. Didn't really even think much about it, right? Until about a week before closing. Of course, another agent brought the buyer. And a week before closing, I get a call from the title company. We got a problem. And hey, Josh. And the problem was that the certified email that the title company sent to get their contact information and their account information for where they wanted the wires funds sent was opened in Nigeria. And so this one was stopped before it went to closing. Wow. Been working with the FBI, been working with the local detectives unit, trying to figure out if we can find this person or whatever. This person kept communicating with me throughout the whole thing. So, me, I'm like, I want to sting. I want to meet this guy. Let's set up a meeting. And yeah.
Only you.
Only me, right? But I never even thought about the one that closed in January until I got a call the first week of March from a lawyer. And the lawyer said, I'm representing the family of such and such a person seller. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Well, they didn't sell the property, but you did. And I'm like, oh no, like what? And I literally had not made a connection. Title company had talked to the little old lady a number of times. They didn't see anything unusual. They sent off paperwork for her to take and have signed in front of a notary. And literally that's the one step that may have been something that indicated that something was awry, because this person went to an online notary, supposedly, and even if they had checked the notary name against the notary number, that would have matched up. And so it would have been odd for a little old lady to go online and do an online
yeah.
Love that everybody's.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to put everybody up there so I can give everybody some love, but listen to you too.
So my takeaway on this is we need to be having more conversations about security and systems if we don't physically sit with the person, right?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, because it's so easy to miss some subtle cues, okay? Especially when it's presented to you as my client, super sweet little old lady, my client, he travels a lot with his business. He likes to text. He doesn't like to talk on the phone because because of his business. And so maybe my guard was down a little bit, but I got to tell you, my guard is up right now. I am, the little hairs on the back of my neck are standing up on every deal now that's referred to me from out of the area.
Well, we had one. Actually, an attorney was telling us about it here, local attorney, to where the buyers, and they're starting to see it. Buyers are coming in saying, hey, I want to place an offer on 123 Main Street. I'm going to give you $10,000 earnest money and a certified check. Mm-hmm. Then give it to the attorney to hold in escrow. Because it's a certified check, attorneys only have to hold it like 48 hours. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, the buyer terminates, gets the check back, and he stopped payment on that deposit. Right. But it was $100,000. Oh, and he was able to take it and run, and nobody could find him or know who he was or anything. So I mean, it is huge. It's prevalent. People are getting really smart about it.
Well, and honestly, AI is going to make it a lot worse because, if the scammer is hanging out on the dark web, which I know very little about, but I understand it's a really creepy, gross place. They can get a lot of information, like the driver's licenses for these people that weren't actually selling their property. Yeah. Talk about a very strange phone call to have to make. After we discovered that second one was a scam, I went to Forewarn, been verified. I collected a list of phone numbers and I just started calling. Hi, are you so-and-so? Yes. Are you married to so-and-so? Who wants to know? Oh, my bad. I should have told you who I was, and then I explained who I was. And I'm like, do you own this property? And she said, yes. And I said, is your husband by chance available? We could do a conference call or do a speakerphone call. Because I'd like to kind of explain to you what's going on. Yeah. And so the upside to it, I'm going to list their property, but they weren't actually selling. So now they've had to shut down all their accounts. They've got.
So what happened to your buyer that bought? Because it was your buyer too, right?
It was my buyer too. So title insurance. So the downside for him, he's going to get his $70,000 back, but he's not going to get his closing costs back. He's not going to get his survey back. He's not going to get any of that stuff back, but at least he's going to get the bulk of it back because of title insurance. So again, always go to the title company.
Yeah. Amen. Wow. Amen. And then Shelby, I know that we were just talking about how you were featured on the news a couple of years ago from the same type of crazy cyber stuff. So what did you have?
Yeah, this has just happened to me again for the third time on one of my listings, and I'm sure it's happened to y'all, but I don't think that like renters are aware. And one of my own friends sent me this particular one, and I myself have a house listed. It's my property. He had actually asked me about renting it at one point. I was like, no, I don't want to rent that out. And then he saw it on one of the rental websites and he was like, wait, you said you weren't going to rent this out. I'm like, I'm not. And so somebody had copied the listing, cloned the listing essentially, and they were advertising it for rent. So, and when it happened to my client before several years ago, it was kind of the same kind of thing. They're like, oh, we can only email, and oh, I can't talk on the phone, I'm deaf. And it was like, wait, there's systems for that. So, yes, anyway, there's the ways to get around that, know, hey, well, still need to know you're a real person. And so a lot of people had actually sent in deposit money to this fraudulent, person that was renting the house. And
because you have to send like first month's, last month's, like you have to send a couple $1,000s, right? And they're going to mail you the key.
Yeah. And with this previous one, I actually
don't do it.
I went to my listing and was going to check something. And there was 4 people lined up along the street, and they were all there to look at the house. And one girl had actually already mailed in money. Oh. And it was her last $750, and she had just moved here. And it was just tragic. Funny enough, I ended up working with that poor girl who got scammed, and I rented her one of my houses. So for a while, because I just thought, oh my gosh, what has happened? And she did qualify and everything. But anyway, this happens all the time and people don't realize it. And so you just need to be really careful. So whenever I work with, we don't really work with renters, but when people call in about renting, I'm like, hey, let me just give you some free advice. Like, call the property management company directly. Like, do not just call some rando and try to rent their house. Like, and I hate that, because that makes it hard for sale by rent, I guess, if that's what you say. I don't even know what that would be, but definitely think it's
Chris points out a good thing, putting a sign in the window that says not for rent. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And Cindy says crazy stuff happens all the time. Yes, it does.
Right.
Yeah. And we got a couple more people.
So I'll tell you about another scam that I literally just had a long conversation with my business coach about. So renters are moving into a rental. They pay their first month's rent. They move in. They list the house for sale as if it's theirs. They've already secured driver's licenses with the actual owner's information on it. So fake IDs. And they list it for rent. They're the ones, for sale. They're the ones that are there at the property. So they allow people in to tour the property and give their contact information, whatever, to the agent that lists it for sale the day or 2 days before they move out, before closing, and schedule to pre-sign at a title company. And they go in and they sign. They've opened up an account for a short period of time to wire the funds in.
And then they take it and run.
They take it and run because they've moved out for the final walkthrough. And meanwhile, the owner, the true owner of the property, has no clue whatsoever that this is going on. Wow. So this has become a really popular one as well. And again, it's so easy for these folks to get these fake IDs, I guess, that, and at the title company,
it's crazy that we're no longer talking about being 21, being 19 and buying fake alcohol. We're talking about hundreds of thousands
of dollars on a property that you don't own.
Yeah. So Cindy's
how can you nail this down so that that's not a possibility? I don't even know.
Well, I know with mine, because we're starting to see a lot of red flags, right? So I make everybody, if they don't have the ability to meet with me, you're going to be on a Zoom with me. And if you can't be on a Zoom with me, I'm not dealing with you.
So
I need to make sure that you are
that's one of the systems that now I've put in place is if I've got a seller that wants to sell that is out of state, okay, we're going to do a Zoom and I need you to put your driver's license up right beside your face. And if they don't have a problem with that, then they're probably cool. If they have a problem with that, we've got a problem. And it's going to happen right now. It's not going to happen in 3 days. It's going to happen right now. And then I put out on our board website, email program, whatever, to all of the board members to watch out for scams of this sort and the address, because the guy who we caught before it closed, he's already contacting other agents in the area to affect this same scam. So ultimately, where we were able to push him off a little bit,
somebody else, a brand new agent, an unexperienced agent, an agent that's just excited for somebody to call them.
Yay, money, So, just trying to make sure that everybody understands that if they are not successful with one agent, they're going to go to another agent.
Yeah, that's right.
And come to find out, long story short, both of these leads that this same agent sent to me.
Did we call that agent? Did you call that Florida agent?
Oh yeah, I did. And she passed it off like it was no big deal. And I was like,
seems like she'd be a little bit concerned. Like, are these actually your clients? No, they're not.
I know. Obviously. So I said to her, you shouldn't be saying that they are your actual clients and that you super sweet little old lady. And
when somebody calls us, like they say, I've got a client, you're thinking your best friend, your child, your best friend,
this person.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. There's a difference between a customer and a lead and a client. Yeah, there's a difference. And especially if you're referring out that business. So both of them were Zillow leads. So I didn't find that out, obviously, until I find out that now I've got 2 scams that have both been sent to me by the same agent.
And simultaneously, kind of back to back, right? Within the
Back
last
to
60
back.
days.
Yeah.
Almost like there's a scam organization that said that one sent it to this agent in Missouri, and we've got another
And
vacant
Tracy didn't
land.
catch it, so let's send her another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Certainly, an
So
agent wouldn't have done that on
vacant
purpose.
land is super easy to affect this scam. So you guys, everything that you need to have, if you don't have systems where you're literally checking their information, is readily available on the assessor's website. It's public knowledge. Who owns it, how much taxes they pay, like all of it. And I think that it's just really becomes super important for us to really dial in our systems and make sure of who we're working with.
No, I think that is absolutely right. And I tell everybody now, because I had a couple of instances years ago where I got spoofed to where they changed like one little letter or number in your email address, so you don't really notice it, and enter into the conversation and ask for money. And the first time it happened to me, it was a Hispanic couple, didn't speak any English, and she's calling me and she's cussing me out in English and Spanish. And I'm like, what? Huh? What? And she's like, wait, I wired you $10,000. I was like, why in the hell did you wire me money? Why did you do that? She's like, you told me to. I was like, when did I tell you to do that? And it was, and then I had to call. Yeah, this was like 10 years ago, and I never really heard of any of this. And I called Google, which was interesting. Does anybody want to know how to call Google? You have to Google how to call Google. It's like, how the hell do I call Google? But I was on the phone with them 7 hours. Like, how did this happen? What kind of security measures do I need to do? And I implemented everything that they told me. But at the end of the day, I tell everybody, I will never ask you for money. There is absolutely no reason why you're ever going to give me. I mean, you might give me a check for earnest money, but it's not going to be made out to me. It's going to be, to somebody else. I am never going to ask you for money. And if I do, I'm going to call you up. It's going to be like, we're going to be talking, it's not going to be some crazy ass email, but it's insane. So you're seeing it both on. So Shelby, you saw it with renters. Is that your, like the vacant house and it was your listing and then they put it out there to rent? Yeah. Right.
I do think the other thing we should
collect the security deposits.
Yeah. And then the other thing you just mentioned is wire fraud. Like that's the other big, like, oh my gosh, right now, like we have, we're having people sign like a disclaimer on both buyers and sellers, and I mean, might be taken a little too far. And I hope he doesn't mind me telling this story. My own seller reached out to me the other day and he's like, the title company wants me to fill out this form. Is it okay? But I warned him so much about like the people that have sent hundreds of thousands of dollars to their fraudulent wire fraud people, that he was like scared to fill out a form from the title company, but like, thank goodness, because somebody tried to.
But he called you as his resource, which is what we are, right? I mean, that's super important people that do that, and super important for us, for our clients to know that we are a valuable resource. But I had another one, and it was through a title company. I was actually title companies don't do our closings. Attorneys do our closings in North Carolina. So we were at the closing attorney's office, and this was a couple of years ago. And my buyer was like, the attorney said, well, once your funds are wired, then I'll be able to go ahead and record the deed. And she's like, oh, it got funded 2 weeks ago. I wired you the money 2 weeks ago. And he's like, no, we never got it. He's like, no, you called me. So who called you? Well, it was a guy. Well, we don't have any guys that would have called you. I mean, the attorneys were men, but the people that their paralegals were not. And he's like, there's no man that would have called you about this. And so when we went back and looked at her email, another spoof, not from mine, but this came from she had sold a house in Colorado. So this was from her title company in Colorado. Actually, it's the one that got spoofed. But they sent her an email and said, I am going to be calling you from the Wilmington attorney's office. This is my phone number. I realize it doesn't match Wilmington phone numbers. This is the number I'm going to be calling you from. So when the phone number came in, she was like, oh, it's the attorney's office. Wired them all the money. It was like $296,000.
Did she get any of it back?
She got all of it, but $6,000 back. Yes. Yeah. So,
That's-
and that because it happened in Colorado, the Colorado SBI got involved, and within 5 or 6 days, she got it all back. But 6,000, but still 6,000. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Let's see what Rich says. New York Rich.
He's vacant while on the phone.
People on the phone said that.
I got excited because I thought I had squatters. Yeah. Yeah. So I literally had a closing in February, end of February. Seller came in and signed on Wednesday. Buyer came in and signed on Thursday. At the closing table, he says, "When do I get the keys?" I said, "Well, when the seller gets their money." He never wired the money. And so I think that he was just planning on squatting. Well, he's going to get a nice little visit from a serving officer that serves him for the lawsuit that he's about to get. Right. So, so there's just so much of this, in so many different ways. I've had a number of my listings be listed on Craigslist as for rent.
Yeah, that happened to me years ago. I mean, Craigslist has been a while, but you're right. I did the same thing.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, it's not for rent. Well, yeah, it's right here. No, it's not for rent.
And I sent in a check.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to send me keys. No.
I had a fraudulent proof of funds one time. That was
how do you do a fraudulent proof of funds?
She just faked it, and I didn't.
So I had one of those.
I didn't know then to call and check every single one, which we do now, obviously. But that was the mistake you don't make again. And she had actually gotten early occupancy.
Oh no!
She was in the house. And she had done it before, and the sheriff had to get involved. So that was
crap.
And then I had to play along with her for 4 or 5 days before the sheriff came to get her, and not to tip her off that they were coming to get her. So
so that's literally why I was going to do that sting. I'm like, officer, come on, detective, come on, let's get him.
You see Tracy dressing up like your elf, on
a shelf and just meet him there, but like AI is so powerful, and it's only at the infancy stage of the things that they're going to be able to do. And for me, that I understand so little about technology and how this piece matches with that piece, that it terrifies me to think about all of the things that they could potentially do, because my brain just doesn't go there. Yeah. Right. Because I'm a good person. But
because who in the world thinks, if these people would put that towards like fighting cancer or coming up with it's like, holy cow, they could do like really amazing things.
I know, right? And it's kind of crazy. So what I can say is that after we discovered the Nigeria folks and I'm not saying anything bad about anybody from Nigeria, but the email was actually opened in Nigeria, which spawned the title company to say, this is a fraud alert. We can no longer accept any emails from that email address. They tried calling the guy. I tried calling the guy, and it was a Google Wi-Fi phone number. So,
of course.
Yeah. So that's the other thing is like, if you deal with another part of the systems that I've put in place, if you get a lead that comes in that they're out of state, like I work with a lot of out of state investors. Yeah. If you get a lead from out of state, go on Forewarn, pull up a bunch of phone numbers, call those numbers and double check that those are the people that are.
Tracy. Oops, Tracy. I'm sorry, love. That's not a cute face.
No.
You're so cute. That's not a cute frozen.
You froze. You froze.
You froze.
And it was probably a really pretty picture too.
That's what I was like, Tracy. It's not a cute face. I'm sorry.
It
was more like this.
Oh, nice. I'm so excited. I feel like I've aged like 20 years in the last 3 weeks, to be honest.
Now we know why.
You've had a lot going on, Tracy.
I've had a lot going on. And, so like the Forewarn, been verified, all of these different resources that we have to verify who it is that we're working with is going to be super important. To find out that a deal that closed, and I had buyer and seller, and it closed without even a hesitation, to find out that was a scam was like a huge shock. And to find out because I sent them a CMN card was like, what? Like, that's how the family found out that I had sold out from under them. You know, how horrible is that? But to make that phone call it's embarrassing. It's like, how did I not catch this? You start questioning.
Well, because
am I good at what I do? Like, am I good enough? Like, you know, are my systems squared away enough? And I don't think that we can be too cautious. And so that's why I'm falling on the sword, you guys. You know, I got taken by it. And I mean, it all ended up working out okay. But, you know, at the end of the day, it could have been really disastrous. And there were very few, looking back on it, you know, hindsight's always 20/20. With the second one, it was just a little odd that I never got to speak with this guy on the phone, but the title company did. And so it was just really odd and odd.
So pay attention to those.
Oh, no. She's
sorry, Traci.
Jason already got a screenshot of the last time he said. So.
Yes. Traci, I'm sorry, love. But no, but I agree. I think it's just a matter of picking up on those red flags.
Yeah.
And
trust your gut on it too. It feels a little bit weird, like, because this one girl that did the fake proof of funds, it felt weird. Something was weird. And I'll get it to you later and this and that. And it just didn't feel right. But just about the time I started to kind of question it, she would do it, you know, and I'm like, okay, I guess it's okay. You know, and really, I should have just, you know, been more guarded, I think. But
so with respect to fake proof of funds, okay, so I had one of those that was given to me by a couple that wanted to write on my $2 million listing. And I said, yeah, I'm going to need a proof of funds. And they're like, oh, no problem whatsoever. They literally got on their phone, emailed the proof of funds to me, like right there on the spot. And I opened it up and I was like, okay, this looks fine. I didn't.
Oh, no.
Traci, we have to get better internet, dude. I don't know.
We're gonna have to make a meme of all her faces today.
All the different fonts and stuff. So that's another thing that you really have to look at as well, because again, I believe that it's super easy for them to take these logos, you know, from financial institutions, and there's a lot of financial institutions that we've never heard of.
Yeah. True.
Just definitely call and verify it.
Call and verify. Yeah.
Verify. And if you get a red flag, pay attention. Don't think that you're just being weird. Yeah. You're not. You should pay attention. Listen to your senses.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, how easy it is to not have anything pop up that seemed out of the norm, you know? Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a $70,000 property. Whoop-de-doo. Wow. But at the end of the day, looking back at it now, maybe I should have caught something, but I had a driver's license. Everything matched, you know.
Yeah, I would tell you, I had a friend that's got really good kids, not kids that would be in trouble. But one of the scams was that saying, hey, this is like calling grandparent. Hey, this is your grandson, and I'm in jail, and I need you to wire me money, but don't tell my parents. And it happened to both sets of grandparents. And the one smarter grandparent was like, hey, this doesn't sound right. Texted him from her phone. And he was like, what are you talking about? That's not me. While she was on the phone with whoever it was lying, the second grandparent sent money, $10,000 to get him out of jail. And
so my mom sent $6,900 in $100 bills stuffed into a Vogue magazine to save my son from being, you know, carted off to jail in New York for a head-on collision. And it's like, did he call you Grandma Carol? Like, because that's what my kids call her, you know?
Yeah.
But they were so good. They literally.
That's scary. This is honing in on the old. I mean,
that's an easy target.
But yeah,
that's a super easy target though, because they don't get technology and they just don't believe that anyone would find them in their little area, you know. And why would anyone want to hurt?
Traci, I love you, girl. You're just kind of goes, it's kind of comical, Tracy. You locked up again.
Oh,
I want to make a meme of all your locking
Yeah,
up.
we need to do that.
oh no! All the faces, the
I think
eras.
Jason has all the screenshots. You don't have to worry about it. He's got us covered, so we won't even have to go back and do it. See, now
Okay,
she's making
with
it
that
so
one,
it
that's
actually
a good
happens. Oh
The
my
eras of Tracy during Mind Over Market.
Yeah.
goodness. It's all
I'm
good.
so
Mason said
embarrassed.
I got you, girl.
Don't be embarrassed. It's cute. It's funny.
Steven said there's a online wealth lookup for verifying buyers. I have no idea
Wealth?
about that. So
Online
that's
what?
really cool. Online wealth lookup helps me verify buyers who submit offers.
Send that
especially
link,
on high-end
Jason.
homes.
I mean, Steven,
Steven.
send that link.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that link? Online wealth lookup?
Yeah. Owl.
Well, hopefully he'll send that to us.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, because that would be amazing to have.
Yeah, that would be.
So I've spoken with a lawyer that I'm talking to about potentially suing that buyer that came in and signed just like cool as a cucumber, like nothing was wrong, and never wired the funds on a $2 million house. So I have a buyer's agency with him. Yay for the buyer's agency. And so the reality is he's going to get sued for it, for breach of contract. So it'll be a nice little payday on a $2 million house. But the reality is he perpetrated fraud. Yeah. And I think that his end goal was to be a squatter in the house.
Yeah. Wow. That's scary.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter the size of the deal. It doesn't matter whether it's vacant land or whether it's a rental property.
It doesn't matter. That's right. Money is money, and fraud is fraud.
Yeah. So it makes me think, okay, how can I set up alerts on all of my properties so that any activity on the property, like somebody that rents a property from someone, from a client of mine that is trying to rent the property. How do I know that they're not going to perpetrate this kind of thing? How do I get, some sort of an alert about this property showing up, willy-nilly on the MLS? So it's going to be very difficult to track, very difficult to have that insight. But I have a property right now that my investors want me to rent for them. And the crazy number of people that need rentals in St. Louis, and they're coming out of the woodwork, and again, the little hairs on the back of my neck are standing up with every person that I'm talking with. Like, how do I know I can trust you? So it's
which is scary. Yeah. And Steven, when you get that link, if you'll put it on the Facebook so everybody that's listening
that would be great.
Could see it, that would be awesome. Well, Tracy and Shelby, thank y'all.
Thank you.
This is awesome.
Pleasure as always.
As always.
This was good. This was like eye-opening because I knew my little issues, but I had no idea the trials and tribulations that you guys were seeing. So it's
so real. I was happy to fall on the sword for everybody so that you guys don't get a call from a lawyer that says we didn't sell that property.
Wow.
So it's not a fun call to get for sure.
No, that's pretty scary. And then on all ends of it, but well, so we're learning, right? We're learning so we can keep up our guards and know what to look for and how to resolve it. So,
because it's only going to get more prevalent, you guys. So tighten up your systems. That's all I can say.
And I like the idea. I think Chris put it up there about putting this house is not for rent in the windows, like getting signs made for the windows of your vacant homes. I think that's a good idea too.
Wonder if we can put that in the description in the MLS.
Yeah, there you go too. House not for rent.
Yeah,
it's not for rent.
Somebody tried to look it up and was like, "This seems weird." They could keep it out there. I don't know.
Well, I just feel like if it's Craigslist or Rent.com or whatever, that they can maneuver the words that are in our description.
Oh, definitely. But if you went to try to look it up, at least it might be. I don't know.
At least you're trying to do something.
Yeah. So vacant properties, now we have to worry about this sort of thing instead of just people are squatting in the basement.
Squatting would not be so bad. Seems like
we have a dangerous job, you guys. So agent safety. Because I would hate for any of you to have anything nefarious happen to you.
That's right. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Thank y'all.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so
I'm
much
gonna
for
go enjoy
having
my
us.
view. I'm gonna go make me a drink and sit over here and listen to the waves break. So
I'm
There
gonna
you
come
go.
see you. That sounds
come
awesome.
come on. Yes, I would love it.
All right. Bye,
Awesome.
y'all. Thank
Bye,
you.
Bye,
y'all.
guys. Love y'all.
Love you. Bye.